Okay, so we had a really great breakout room just earlier. We were talking all about pricing, and what I loved about our breakout room was just really honest, really raw, really real, right? About how we feel about pricing our products or services. First of all, I just want to make sure that this talk is relevant to everyone. And I also want to put forward that this is a very interactive talk. So we're going to be talking throughout. So that means I love, first of all, if we can all be on camera. That would really get us a great shift straight away. So if you're not on camera, do feel free to put your camera on, really engage. I really want you to get the most of this. It's going to be quite a short talk relative to this talk that I give, but we're going to have a shift in the next 20 minutes itself around our mindset around pricing. So that's what we're going to play for. Okay, so question for you all. Who here, just to make sure that this talk is relevant, who here sells either a product or a service? Please raise your physical hand. Okay, great. Let me see. That is everyone. Right, great. I saw one or two hands not go up. So if you don't sell a product or a service, I'd love to hear what you do feel that you do sell. So that's great. One question now for you all. What I'd love to get is, how are we feeling about our pricing right now? In one word, in just one word, how are we feeling about our pricing right now? Let's use the chat box. I think almost all of you have put something in the chat box for us to be able to connect with you, which is great. So let's use the chat box, and let's be really real, really raw about how we're genuinely feeling about our pricing. Okay, so Alex feels strong. Claire says wobbly. Leah's anxious. Okay, great, right? Thank you for being really, really, really straight, right? So Gail feels happy. Lisa feels fixed. Adam feels pretty good. Rebecca feels too low. Okay, fair enough, right? So we're at a crossroads. Nick says, right, great, right? So no issues. Caroline says, okay, great. Pura says, okay. All right, amazing, right? So that's good. I can tell you straight away that even in delivering this, I know that my pricing could still use work. So how I feel about my pricing is evolving. I feel confident, and I feel that there could be an improvement. So I can tell you that, being an expert in this subject matter, and why I can tell you that is around, apart from selling in alignment, I also have the privilege and the honor of running a martial arts school. And so I'm actually my own client in some respects, because I deal with a lot of parents who bring their children to our martial arts school telling me their rates are too high, right? Has anyone ever had that from a potential client? Your rates are too high. Put your hand up, just physical hand, please. Like if you've had that, your rates are too high. Yes, right, quite a few of us. Absolutely. So we've quite a few of us have had that, where we feel like our rates, that we've been told that they think our rates are too high, and that's quite common. So today we're going to tap into all of that. Good. All right. So this presentation is titled "The Mindset, Strategy, and the Confidence Behind Premium Pricing." I just want to check everyone can see that title screen. Okay. So just give me a wave. Yeah, great. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, great. So let's have a look at this, right? Thank you for sharing. And we're going to come back to that question around how you feel about your pricing again. So many of the coaches and consultants that I start working with are undervaluing their work because they don't feel confident about how to price their services. And there are a lot of reasons for that. And so we have to really look in and tap, right? And there is a fear of rejection. Sometimes we're comparing ourselves to other providers on the market and saying, I need to be lower than that provider so I can win business. Sometimes there's this whole uncertainty around, if I put my price up too much, am I going to win that business? So there's discounting, and unfortunately that leads to burnout. So this is a journey that I myself have been on with my own pricing. And so I took on lots and lots of clients at a low price. And what happened is I ended up burning out because I was doing all of this work and I was delivering and I was speaking to new potential clients and I was creating the payment systems and I was working on the business, right? And the marketing. And then I was delivering the product. And I was doing all of this and I was charging next to nothing. And so I hit a pretty major burnout. And that took a long time to develop. And so what I want to do is have everyone feel super confident about how they're pricing their services or their products so that they can avoid that. And so they can really connect with what's their real purpose and what do they want to be known for in their industries, right? And really get a business that works. So that's the idea, and that's what we're playing for. So what I want to do is, the way I want to do this all is I want to change our understanding about how we can own our pricing with a lot of confidence. Okay, so how we're going to do that is we're going to use the 3 P's of pricing confidence. Okay, so the first P is physiology. Physiology. Standing firm in the value that you're bringing. That's the first P. Physiology. No apologetic pricing. Now, what do I mean by that? What was really interesting is when I listened to a lot of the 60 seconds that were going on, people were talking about what they do, right? And what they do, what you do is actually a feature of your service. But what you want to talk about is the benefits that that service is going to have for someone. So yes, they may be more confident, but what's the benefit of more confidence, right? So, and Liz, I hope you don't mind my sharing, right? When we were talking in our breakout room, we were talking about how the benefit of getting maths tutoring is that, is it possible that a student can climb a few grades? And how would that make a parent feel? If that were to happen, and we can't promise it, that's where we left the conversation, right? It's not a promise that we're making. The question becomes, how would a parent feel if using Liz's service had their child climb 2 grades? How would that feel for a parent? Who here is a parent? Just raise a physical hand, please. Right. So question, right, for all of you to think about is that if your child were to climb 2 grades in maths as a result of what Liz has delivered, how would that make us feel as a parent? Pretty proud, right? Pretty happy, right? Just giving us that confidence back in ourselves that, yes, you know what? That was a great bit of parenting to have that child come into it. Like, the conversation is completely different. We're not even talking about pricing yet. We're talking about owning what we're bringing to the table. Can we start to see how powerful this is? This is physiology. This is the first P, just standing firm in your value. So it's interesting because I'm a martial arts instructor as well. I bring a lot of my martial arts influence into business. So what we have in the martial art is in Korean, the word to come to attention is chariep. So when we come to chariep, we tell the children we need to be standing straight like a soldier and still like a statue in the attention position. Hands are by the side. Back is projected forward. Okay, so back is straight. The chest is projected forward. The head is straight. The breathing is slow and deep. That's a posture of confidence. And that's where we want to stand in our pricing. And this is what I do, is I take people through this journey. This is the journey. There's so much I can do on a talk and you'll feel inspired and moved, but I want to see that come into action. And we take this into a beautiful group coaching setting where we have amazing clients who are getting amazing results. So the next P is perception. Perception is really, really key. So beautifully, I was in a breakout room with Claire a little earlier, and she told me, right, she runs workshops and she's written books. So Claire is an author and a speaker. So suddenly the perception that a school will have of Claire, if she's positioning herself correctly, is that she is an authority in her space. Why? Because not everyone is an author, not everyone is a speaker, right? Who here has written a book? 1, 2, 3. So 3 out of all of us. I haven't written a book either. So first of all, authors, I want you to get, you are special. You are authors. You're already in the top in terms of this specific thing. You're already in the 15% of people that have written a book in this space that we're in right now. What's the value of that for someone to be able to work with an author? That carries a value. You're a speaker, right? If you've ever gone to events, if you've run workshops, if you've run anything in a group setting and you've been at the front and you've led a session, you're speaking. It takes something to do that. What's the value of that? Are we considering all of this when we're putting our prices together for what we're bringing to the table, right? Good. Final P. What is the final P? The final P is presence. Projecting confidence so clients see you as the expert. The interesting thing is, and why this is at the bottom of the triangle, is because presence is a foundation. And so if your physiology is solid and you're confident in your pricing and the perception is strong, you've created a good profile for yourself, the presence is a byproduct of the other two Ps. I want us all to consider that for a moment. Because this is what I'm actually talking about here crosses over into what's called personal branding. Okay, the way in which that you show up in all of the spaces that you show up, what people are saying about you when you're not in the room. This is key, right? And so, for example, part of my personal brand is that I bring energy, right? So a lot of feedback that I get is that, wow, that was a really high energy presentation. That was amazing. There was a lot of energy there. So that I know that that's a part of my personal brand, and that comes from, and that's formed part of my presence. So if you were to choose someone to work with, would it be someone that's kind of really monotonous and really boring and really slow and really like draining? Or would it be someone that is vibrant and that you'd love to work with and that you can see can take you on a journey of confidence, right? So then that becomes a question that's automatically happening in your potential market's mind, right? Good. Okay, great. So let's move on. So these are the three Ps. I want to talk now about pricing psychology. I shared this slide a lot. This is really the nuances of pricing. This is the core of it. This conversation is happening in the mind of your client, whether you believe it or not. Whether you believe that your pricing is good, it's already strong, you're happy with it. This conversation that we're about to look at is happening in the mind of your prospect because it's psychology. It's a human psychology. We can't really move away from this, right? So this is key. And I'd just love to pick up if you have any questions about this as well. So good. So here's the psychology. So first of all, we're going to split this all into quadrants. The first quadrant is unknown brand that is charging a low price. The next quadrant is an unknown brand that's charging a high price. Next two quadrants, known brand, but charging a low price. And finally, known brand charging a high price. So here's what I'm going to get you to do is open up the chat box and tell me, can you think of, let's just get one or two. Can you think of a known brand that charges a low price? Who can give me a known brand that charges a low price? You walk into this place and you know you're going to get a low price. You go into the website, you know you're going to get a low price. Right, exactly, Timu, exactly correct, right? Tesco's own brand, exactly correct, right? So EasyJet, yes, EasyJet is a bargain airline. So you know you're going to get a low price, right? And it's a known brand. Lidl, exactly, right? So Lidl is a supermarket that's known for charging low prices. This is exactly correct. So good. So now, same question. Give me a couple of known brands that you know are going to charge a high price. Known brands that you know are going to do it. You know it. You already know before you go on their website. Porsche, Apple, exactly, right? Harrods, yes. Rolls-Royce, yes. BMW, exactly. BMW, right? As Nick has said. Spot on. It's a premium. You're going to pay a premium. So you know this. You know before you walk into the BMW showroom that this is going to be different from just buying a budget car. So you're expecting to pay a premium. And so you know this. Why I've gone over this is because these brands are what you've given me here in the chat box. These brands are known brands. Now, relative to these brands, our brands as entrepreneurs, solopreneurs is an unknown brand. So we have to make a choice, right? We have to make a choice. So Some examples of known brands, which some of you already put in. So Primark, Walmart, known brands. Here are some designer brands that we are well known for charging high prices. Relative to them, we are unknown brands. So now we have to make a choice. And the choice that we make is not going to be right or wrong. It's not good or bad. It's just a choice. We have to choose. Do we want to fit into the category of unknown brand that charges a low price, or do we want to fit into the category of unknown brand that charges a high price? If you go for the unknown brand that's a low price, unfortunately, what happens is the perceived trust, please listen to the terminology, perceived trust of your target market is that this is not trusted, there must be a low value. This must not be good. If, on the other hand, you have a higher price, the perception is that this is going to be good. So we just have to choose which of these we want to fit into. And so this is a psychology of pricing. We really have to get this. So now how do we take this all and now apply it into the 3 Ps, right? So physiology, pricing is not a question, it's a statement. So one of the things that came up in the breakout room was if we quote a price, then the client comes back and tries to negotiate. So there is no negotiation because it's the price, right? This is my price. And this is about standing strong. Remember, they're Korean for coming to attention. Chariot, straight like a soldier, still like a statue. I'm still like solid in my pricing. So this is where the physiology comes. It's not a question, right? It's not a debate. It's a real conversation. It's an actual statement that we put out there, right? Good. So don't justify that. There's no need to justify, and use strong body language when you're discussing pricing. So your body language needs to be clear. Remember, 80% of communication is body language. So we need to have that and reflect that. And so ideally, when we have these conversations, it needs to be on video like this or in person, even better, right? When we're having these types of conversations. So that's key. The next P, how are we applying that? We're going over to perception. See, high price, the perceived level of trust becomes higher. If you don't believe in your pricing, that's also going to land as well. Your clients also won't believe as well. So I genuinely believe that when parents from my martial arts school come back to me and say, you know, the £90 a month that you're charging, that's too much for 8 classes, right? I think you're charging too much. That's not got anything to do with the parent. That's more about something that's happening inside me. And so I can be really honest with that, and I can get really clear around, okay, why is that happening? I'm comparing myself to this other martial arts school where I know the instructor and he has better facilities than me. So why am I charging similar rates to him? So there's a conversation going on in my mind. So what happens is my client reflects that back to me. Where we're getting into now is kind of like a spiritual science, if you like, almost like borderline. That's where we're kind of heading off to. But ultimately, this is the truth. Like what happens is a reflection of what's going on within you. If your clients come back to you with that, there's something happening within you, right? That you're a little bit unsure about your pricing. This is why we work with a coach, right? This is why Jag came into my program. So Jag Kumari, she came into my program. She's a parent coach. She was selling a 90-day coaching program for £500. We've repriced, repackaged that, and now she sells the same coaching program. She's added a lot more value into it for £2,000. And she's now selling less units, working with smaller number of people, but getting a bigger, a deeper, a huger result. And those clients are more committed to what they've invested into as well. They show up differently for her, right? So it's really powerful. So finally, presence. Presence is the last one. How can we apply that? Give structured pricing tiers, right? Offer people options, right? You can take on in the position of, let me see, where is our maths coach? I've lost you. Here we go. Liz. For Liz's perspective, offering options, right? Would you like to take on 12 sessions, or would you like to do 3 to start with, right? And those are priced in such a way where the 12 are more appealing, right? You get much better value. So do we have different options? Always give a choice between something and something, never something and nothing. Right? Really, really powerful. Good. So summary. Confidence isn't about pricing, right? It's not about what others charge. This is more about what are you bringing to the table, and you need to tap in for what you are bringing to the table. See, the second that I saw Alex on the screen, nutrition coach, I've worked with a lot of coaches in the health and wellness space. Again, right, completely repriced and packaged their offering. And that's actually one of my favorite spaces to work in. Because I've gone through that space myself and had a massive transformation. I completely wholeheartedly believe in what people like Alex do. So where I see nutrition coach, immediately I'm thinking to myself, this is someone I'm going to get in front of that's going to help me to fuel my body in a completely different way to have me perform at peak performance, so that wherever I go in the world, I'm showing up as the most powerful version of myself. Right? So that's, for me, like that would be my 60 seconds if I were in Alex's position. Like this is how I would, why? Because this is the experience that I've had. And so I can speak from that perspective. So this for me is what you, Alex, bring to the table, right? So that's personal to me. Then that's what my view would be on that. So then the 3 Ps help you to understand pricing without fear. So stand firm. The next time you're giving a presentation in pricing, stand firm in your physiology. Shift your mindset, right? The perception. Have a shift in mindset. Am I going to be unknown brand low price or unknown brand high price? Have a shift in that perception, in that mindset. And then package and present with confidence, right? So your presence is confident. That's exactly 20 minutes. And so I'm going to wrap up there. This was an honor to deliver this, and I really reconnect back to my own purpose when I get to deliver presentations like this. So thank you all. I love to take any questions.